I really believe like as parents, all we're really doing is we're just trying to figure it out as we go. We're going off of like how we were raised before, and we're just sort of copying and pasting the things we like and the things we didn't like from our previous upbringing. And then we're trying to look at what other parents are doing, and then we try to mix in with our values. And it's hard. Like if I had to give advice, it wasn't until I really got into Christ, into God, that I've actually found like a little bit more stable ground on how to parent. I think people can find it without God. They can find a different way with different philosophies and different upbringings. The way I really look at it is your relationship with your child is very unique. And because it's so unique that we can take and we can copy and we can look at what other people are doing. But at the end of the day, it really is a one-to-one relationship that is very special and it's very important, right? I mean, this person, this child of yours is the most important person in your life. Treat them like a miracle. And I'm like coming back home, dropping my kid home today and out to school. And we just got in an argument about his future. And it's just like, I'm not really treating him like a miracle. I asked him like, how much of your life should I dictate, or your future should I dictate? And it's tough, right? Because I do want to let him go, but then there's this part of you that doesn't want them to fail, right? But you have to let them go. So I'm like at a point, I said that earlier, where I was like, okay, he needs to find his own path, but I'm like having a conversation saying that you need to follow my path, and trying to find different words for it. But if I'm being honest, that's what I basically was trying to direct. The mindset just comes from understanding how economics work and how money works, right? What you find is that there are just so many different ways to think of the world and how business works, right? I mean, people don't really understand like how much money is possible, like what's possible out there. You know, people think of being an author as this huge dream, and it is a dream to be an author. That's something he wants to do. He wants to draw and he wants to write. That's something I wanted to do when I was younger. I did performance, I did magic performance, you know, and I performed magic, and I thought I wanted to be a magic performer. I'm going to be a magician, right? So I knew there was a lot of unorthodox paths out there. I read enough books and consumed enough content that my majority of the people, especially, you know, I grew up during a time when, you know, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and they were all like, the story is they were college dropouts. They forget to tell you how much of a geniuses they were. So I'm not a genius. So, I mean, the mindset really comes from knowing that there is another way out there, right? I think that's probably the biggest part about it, that there's just another way. What is possible is you have unlimited potential to accomplish anything you want if you just really find the information. What propaganda was so successful, people still believe it today, right? It's like from this meme account called God, right? What propaganda was so successful, people still believe it today. And here's the first comment, 1.4K likes. Anyone can make it and be wealthy and successful if they pull themselves up by the bootstraps. I mean, I took a screenshot of this. I shared it in my friend group, and I saw this. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, I wanted to comment so bad. And I wanted to explain to them, like, yeah, it is possible to become rich. It is possible to become successful. It would just fall on deaf ears if I wrote it in there, because the people reading that group and that page just doesn't really understand. They don't see the potential of what's possible. And that's most of what it is like, there's so many different ways to look at the world. There's so many ways of what's possible. I think that's a big part of it. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm not open-minded, but I am. I'm pretty open-minded. I can see what is possible. Like that's the biggest difference between being an employee and being an entrepreneur. Like we're all human, right? But there's an extra gear in your head that you can see, like, it is possible to achieve something and make it like it's normal and easy. So I got into this mindset with my son, or just the way I parent. It's because a big part of it is that I've consumed enough content, watched TV, and then just kind of see how other parents are, like what's traditionally done, like how you describe as people getting their kid to go to college. And I think a big part of it is that people who go to college make the same amount of money as people who don't go to college, right? So going to college isn't about making money. So that's the biggest part that I've understood it as. So going to college is not about making more money. That's because if your goal is to make more money, right, and that's your goal, there's a different path. If your goal is to maybe have more culture and have more friends and really develop a network and have more opportunity in the future, maybe college is good. But if the goal is just to primarily make more money, like just money by itself, college is not the choice. Now, and because of that, and I've always thought about money in this way, it's about profits, not wages. I don't want a wage. I want profits. Why? Because it's a lot more when you're successful. And if you choose the more riskier option, which is profits, you can get freedom much faster, right? And you can do whatever you want. Like sometimes I think in my head, maybe you just focus on doing what you love. Let's say you like to draw, and maybe drawing or gardening is something you love to do, but you don't necessarily want to make money from it, right? You just love the thing. So you want to do that all day. Well, you can go over here and make $1 million, become financially literate and very understanding of finances, make a good amount of money, put that in savings, put it in some investments, and now you are retired and you can do the thing that you love. Work should never be something that you hate. Work should never be something that you dislike. Work should never be work. I guess I kind of, in my whole life, I've just never looked at work as work. It's never work. It's the thing that you like to do, right? We call it work, but some people think of work as, okay, I'm going to crunch numbers all day, or I'm going to clock in a job, and then I'm going to face this shelf at retail. I'm going to serve these people at a restaurant. You know, work is like, I work 24/7, right? That is how I think, right? Some people like to think of work as being separate from your personal life. You know, my wife looks at it like that. A lot of people look at like, okay, you go 9 to 5, then you get off and you go hang out with your friends, right? Whatever, right? That is what work is. To me, work is your life. And it's your life's work. It's the thing that you like to do. It's the thing that you maybe like sometimes, but you don't like all the time. But it is what you enjoy. Some people who do work is a separate thing from themselves. I look at work as it is part of who you are. Right. And there's some problems with that. But I mean, if I'm being like 100% honest with just the way I look at the world, work is a part of who you are. It's part of your being. I was a personal trainer. Fitness is part of my life. I'm not a personal trainer anymore, but fitness is very much part of my life. It's very, very important to me. Right. I do fitness. I do fitness because it's my identity. I guess the thing is like whatever work you do, you should identify with. Right. You don't just do work so that you can make a living. You do work because it is your life.